Well, hello there. It's Ivy League here. For those of you that know me, hello, welcome. So good to be in your presence again, even though I'm just coming off of your audio device. And for those of you that don't know me, hi. I am a drag queen based out of Calgary, Alberta. I am currently a medical student, and I also have a Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry with distinction and a certificate in biomedical research, both of which I got through the U of A. My research that went into that certificate was mostly in virology, specifically working with Zika virus and HIV. Now, I don't know about you, but I think science and medicine are so amazingly cool. And in this podcast, I am hoping to explore some really cool and fun science topics, starting with some questions and concerns I've heard around COVID-19, vaccines, public health, all of that stuff. I'm starting with this because so many of the concerns I've heard around everything COVID-19 related are rooted in care about the people we love and everyone around us. And often I don't see those concerns being addressed appropriately, where the science behind the answer is communicated in a way that makes sense. While I'm not an expert by any means, and I want to clarify that I'm not speaking on behalf of my medical school, I am really passionate about science education and science communication, especially when it comes to issues that are relevant to us and and are really important in helping us make decisions about how we go about our lives. I think one of the reasons why people have really strong thoughts about COVID and lockdowns and vaccines is because all of these things have impacted us a lot. And I hope that in our time together, in going through the science about why things are happening the way they are and talking about like what mRNA vaccines do, or is COVID like a flu or is it different? I think we'll be able to really get to the bottom of some of this science together. And I'm so thankful that you're here, and I'm looking forward to collaborating with you on this. So get ready to surf on sound waves and swing in the stars, because this Magic School Bus is about to blast off. I really want to stress that it is absolutely impossible to understand every detail of all of this stuff, because to understand COVID and its effect on our bodies and on the world around us, we need to have a really good understanding of chemistry, biochemistry, cell biology, immunology, virology, human physiology, epidemiology, all of the ologies. Can you tell where this is going? Public health, medical research, how it's done, the hierarchy of medical research, what studies are higher quality than others and why, statistics, clinical reasoning, which you learn through medicine, and also economics and all of that stuff. So to really understand all of this stuff, I I'd argue that it's impossible for one person to be a verified expert in every one of these areas. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's so important that we listen to what is consensus amongst experts. What does that mean? And can we trust experts? What are they saying? Well, this is the good thing. Experts don't function in isolation. So when I talk about experts, I'm not talking about like a politician or one doctor. I'm talking about teams of scientists that review things, where the people on these teams have each spent their entire lives dedicated to understanding the intricacies of the fields that are coming together to be able to really understand, evaluate, and continue assessing data as it comes in regards to COVID-19. But what about those doctors or scientists here and there, or that guy from Pfizer that's saying, oh, these aren't safe? Well, I want you to imagine a community of 1,000 people. In this 1,000 people, everyone is extremely educated around one thing. Let's make that thing biochemistry. I'm biased. It was my undergrad. I love it. In that 1,000 people, 990 of them are comfortable with a new technology that is going to be used. 10 of them are not, and they're very, very vocal about their concerns. When those 990 people review the data and look to see if those concerns are valid, they see that the data does not support those. So they come back to those 10 people and say, we considered your thoughts, but based on what data we have, we don't see this being an issue. Those 10 people refuse to listen, and then they get more vocal, recruit people on social media, start telling people that like the world's going to explode or things are going to get really bad when they are just not listening to the evidence. And this is kind of what's happened in terms of spreading COVID misinformation. Usually those concerns are tested, or they go over the data again and they're like, oh, that was a good concern, or oh, no, this really isn't a concern that we should be thinking about because it's not grounded in reality. It's not the same as just a conversation on the street. Anyways, I'm on a tangent. But when there's expert consensus, a lot of really, really brilliant minds have went into making that consensus. And if you are not an expert in the field, you might not have the tools to be able to critically appraise that or understand it. And sometimes when we see something that doesn't make sense right away, it can be really easy to go, oh, that doesn't make sense to me, so it can't be true. But science is really complex, and we as humans did not evolve to fear or understand invisible things floating in the air that make us sick, nor the technologies that help us fight them. So it's really important that we look at the data and the science and understanding how these things work. The scientific process involves gathering data and continuing to evaluate things as they go on through observation and experimentation, and is actually quite scientific to be changing your mind as you're presented with new and higher quality evidence. And if you have been anchoring in some beliefs and thoughts about how things are working, and you're realizing that, maybe there's more to it, that is amazing. And it is very hard for us as human beings. We don't like to admit when we're wrong, and we tend to avoid acknowledging whenever we are wrong. But this is how science works, and you're doing an amazing job, and I'm so excited that you're here and that we are learning together. With the experts, it can sound like they are really just saying whatever they want because, one day it's this, one day it's that, these aren't making sense. The scientists' recommendations will change based on what is best evidence in what we have. It was actually a bit surprising for me to see how jarring this back and forth or shifting of things as we gather more evidence has been for most people. And it made me realize something. And that is that we as a society have never seen science in progress this visibly every step along the way in a really long time, or maybe ever. And I think this speaks to how science is taught as a collection of facts that we know, when actually, as we kind of mentioned earlier, science is a process. And now we're seeing that process, and it can feel a bit uncomfortable, but it's okay. That is why we are working hard and funding research to figure out what the truth behind all of this is. And I want to add a little thing there. Truth is a strong word. In science, we take our hypotheses, so our thoughts, we rigorously test them, and once things have been rigorously over and over and over again shown something, then we end up with theories. Theories are things like gravity or the theory of relativity, or you get the picture. Theories are like what we call truths on a day to day, but they are always subject to us learning more and gathering more data, and they can change. Like, y'all, can you imagine if the evidence supporting germ theory and the fact that there are pathogens like bacteria, viruses, fungi, parasites that cause infection? Can you imagine if that theory didn't take off because the prior theory of miasma, which is like dirty air, so like being in a low-lying region near a swamp would cause more health harm than being elsewhere. Like just dirty air is causing disease. Like these things evolve and adapt as our understanding gets better. And we have so much technology now that this happens quickly, but it still takes time. As people, we really like to feel like we understand what's happening around us, and we really don't like uncertainty. This is especially true for things that determine what our actions are going to be when those actions impact the health, well-being, and safety of everyone around us and ourselves. Sometimes when what the experts are saying is really complex and doesn't make sense to us, it can be a lot easier for us to hear something from someone who's loud and compelling and charismatic and go, oh, that makes more sense to me. So I think that probably is closer to the truth than what those experts are saying, because like, that stuff didn't make sense. But science isn't always intuitive, and those people on the fringes are actually taking advantage of your need for certainty and need for comfort in understanding what's happening. When presented with information that helps us feel a lot more safe and secure, it almost feels like, especially when it's coming from someone on the fringe that's disagreeing with what's mainstream, that this is some form of a secret truth. Those secret truths make us feel really special. Whenever we feel like we're given a secret, we're like, ooh, wow, really? Really? As Miss Jennifer Coolidge would say. But when we're talking about science, we don't really have secret truths because our work is so collaborative. And secret truths are often something that ends up making those people spreading those secret truths profit. There's a great CBC review covering some people that claim to be doctors who are actually spreading misinformation that were charging like hundreds of dollars per ticket to fight misinformation. When, yeah, anyways. Oh my goodness, this has been a lot. If you have made it to the end of this episode, congratulations. You have more focus than I do as someone with ADHD. And if you are someone that is hesitant about vaccines or are curious about COVID or have questions, thank you so much for staying to the end. I really hope that in this series, I can do justice to the questions that you have and really work through them in a way that you'll understand. Now, you go have a great day, have a great night, eat a snack, have a drink, go do something, go learn something fun, and you stay fabulous. See you next episode, where we are going to go over a comparison between influenza and SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19.